Okay, y'all ready for this? Yeah, I already zoomed back in for you. Okay, we are in this really pretty book. This is a grayscale coloring book called Cinderella. It is by Ruth Sanderson. This is video number, is it 4, y'all? I think this is video number 4. So I am going to continue working on her skin. If you've missed the rest of these, you really want to go back and pick them up if you're going to be coloring along. So I had just finished with the darker shading, which was, let's see, her cheeks I had done in 70, and the rest of her skin I had done in 75. Now I'm going to come in with my number 17, and I'm thinking I'm going to go back to my standard circles now, and I'm going to get just a little bit of a sharper tip. I know it's loud. A little bit of a sharper tip because I really want to be able to get into these little bits and really blend. So I'm going to start down here on the creamier part of her throat, chest area, and just start blending. I don't want to press too hard because I don't want to take the tooth out of the paper. There's not a lot of tooth in there, but I don't want to push down what is in there and take it out and mess it up. So I'm going right over the top of that darker area. Some of these cheaper pencils really work out better on this cheaper paper. Yeah, they're just, I don't know, something about them. Come up in here. I'm trying to kind of go around that necklace just because it is cheaper paper. I don't want to go right over the top because it could actually smear that black ink a bit. Okay. Going over her collarbone, going all up in here. It's just going to help blend. Then I'm going to go up that bone in her neck. Go through the rest of the collarbone. And see, I can get up close to that necklace without having to really fiddle a whole lot. Now her ear, part of it's light and part of it's dark, so just go ahead and go over that. Then come down her jawbone. Come around that blushed area. I'm going to come around her chin because it was shiny on the end, and then I'm going to go over the top of that shading I did. And see, there's not a whole lot of color in this pencil, but there's enough that you can see the difference in this and this where I've colored. Okay? And again, one of my ladies told me that they put my videos up on the Chromecast, flash it up on their TV, and it's really easy to see that way. So I encourage you, find out, you know, what you need to do to make it easier on yourself, and watch it that way. It'll be a little bit easier. I would not watch a coloring video on my phone except as a last resort. Now I'm going to do circles around the blush area because remember, I go light to dark when I'm blending. And then I am going to go ahead and go right over the top. And then just kind of sit back and look at your piece and see where you need things blended yet. To me, this is doing just fine. My blending's gone well. So my next coloring book class here at the house is going to be on just really blending. Really learning that blending. Now I am going to come in with that pink that I used on her cheeks, that number 70. I'm going to sharpen it. Yeah, it just really needs to be sharp so I can get in this little bitty area. I'm going to come in here and just really get on those lips. I see some people come in and do lips like ruby red, and that's fine, but I'm thinking in a fairy tale it would not be so much ruby red, you know? So anyway, personal preference, that's fine. Let's look at her hair. I'm going to use those same pencils that I used before with the dress being yellow. And just the reasoning is it's going to make it all really flow nicely together. Plus, we already have all those pencils pulled. So it's also going to just make it a little bit easier. You know what I mean? We've got it pulled. We can just use them and go for it. All right. So let's start with the lightest lights. And I may have this a little too sharp. Nothing like a case of overdoing it. And then I am going to look back at the original here. I can see how going to her page and looking at some of her other pictures, I can see how it would help. Because there is a point where sometimes in these grayscales, the pictures are just not as clear. Okay. Yeah, that's something with my grayscales. I really try to make sure it's good, crisp, clear pictures. It's not always easy to do, but it sure helps when you're coloring. Now, what is that on top? That is just more of her hair. Okay, so go ahead and get that in. All right, now back down. But that's what I've been doing, is just flipping back and forth and looking at the cover. All right, so I've got my basic yellows in. Remember, we've got to get that first layer in before we can add the lights and darks. That was our number 2 again. Now we're going on to our number, no, I'm going to skip the medium shade. I'm going to go to the dark shade, 47. We're going to come in here and do the darkest darks, which I know looks kind of yellow, but remember we used it down in her dress. It turned out just fine, so it's going to be all right. Trust me. So I just want to get some of these lower edges done. Some of the darker darks. Okay, some of the stuff that's up under here. And it's in your best interest to go around all this little stuff so that when we get ready to come in a little bit with the gel pen and add all that color, that it's a whole lot easier for you to cover what's underneath. We didn't worry about it on the skirt because it's down on the bottom, it's being drug. But here we really want to be able to see what's going where. Okay, so there's that. So now I'm going to go to my medium shade, which is my number 19. And I'm going to blend back and forth between the two. Just anything that looks like it's that medium shade. And see, this is also my chance to yellow this up just a bit down there. Anything that's in the darker areas, now's my chance to get some color on it. Feels like that lead's loose, but it's not, so that's good. Just gave a little tug on it to see. All right, get her bun and her updo. Is that what they still call it, an updo? Get that all in here. Now we're going to come in with the lightest. Actually, we're going to do one more thing. This brown, the 27, let's just go ahead and brown some of this up a little bit. Do you see how when I put the brown on it, it makes the other one not look so orangey? And it gives some definition. I just need some definition in here. And that other color that we were using, this is that 27, but that other color we were using a while ago just made it look too orange, whereas this makes it look a little more yellow. So sometimes you just have to change your colors up a bit to work with what you're trying to do, what you want to accomplish. Now I'm going to go to that yellow, the brightest one that I had, the number 2. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to go the direction the hair is going because it's an updo. So I'm going to go in that direction, not in my circles. And just do some blending. Get some of this lighter yellow onto the entire picture. Okay. Just take your time. It's all right. No rush. If you're trying to get done before your husband gets home or something, just work on it for a few minutes and then put it aside if you need to. Have your family time. This video will be here when you come back. There, now let's look over at the original. I'm looking over here and there's a lot more dark back in here and it's a lot more streaky. So that's something that I am kind of missing out on. So I'm going to take that dark that we were just talking about and I'm going to go in there and work on that. And my pencil lead has broken, so we're going to go to the sharpener again. There we go. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to try to get some streaks. I know we're usually trying to get rid of them. The streaks are what's going to make her hair look more like hair. Just like when we're doing animals, we do little short streaky bits. Well, I need to get some streaks in here so that she actually looks like she's got hair and not just some big wig thing on. So put some streaks of hair in there. And the dark is what you're going to need to accomplish that. Some streakiness. And see, to me that looks a little bit more like hair now because we've got the streaks going. And we know what colors we used, so we can always come back and touch that up later. Okay? Yeah, you can. That first brown we had, that number 48, that's down in the darks here, we can add just a touch of that here. A touch of it over here at her sideburns. Add a little bit here. Put some in the darkest areas here. That way if we have to come back in at all, we know it's all of the same colors that was in her dress. So yeah, very definite. And this should be darker in here, just the way they brought it up and around her head. Okay, and the way the light's hitting it. Put in some dark streaks. It's all right. Now, if you want those highlights come in, pop them in. I'm thinking I'm going to leave it for right now. Let's leave it and see. So that finishes her. The building, I will probably do in some, I'm thinking orangey colors. What did they use? Oh, they used some blues and stuff because it is a night scene. So good thought. Good thought on that. Okay, we're going to zoom back out. Oops, wrong way. Ah, come on. Work with me, phone. There we go. So now I'm going to look down at the steps. There, you're in. I am going to use those same grays that we used up here on this white. It's going to draw the picture together and make it more cohesive and look more natural because I am repeating some of the same colors. All right, so we have our number 24, our number 81, and our number 74. Again, these are the Marco Renoirs. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to go this way, the lightest color in that lightest area. Almost, yeah, I've got my pencil almost on the side just because it's going to give me more coverage and I don't want this really smooth. Okay, it's not the look I'm after. And we may not even cover all of this completely. Make sure you're going around her shoe. Don't accidentally go over that. If you do, you need to go in there and clear all that off. Okay, so get those steps in. And then the concrete up here at the top. Okay, then the next shade, that was 24, so next I'm going to 81. I'm going to do the next shade over here. And put some on this side wall. Yeah, the books help when you can see what the original color is, but never feel like that means that's what you have to keep doing. All right? Never feel like you have to email me your pictures or message me and go, am I doing it right? You can look and know. If you look at it and you see what you're doing and you're loving it, then go with it. It doesn't matter if it matches anybody else's or not. Okay, you be the judge on that. And again, I'm just laying this down and scooching that color in. All right, it's not real hard. I'm not being real particular. And then this is the darker one. This is the number 74. And I'm really getting these dark lines back in here now because I covered some of them up earlier. So now's our chance to really get those back in. Put those dark lines back in as you continue to add your color. The darkest colors are going to be up underneath the edge because that would be leaving a shadow. Okay, all of this is her shadow. Okay, she's got that shadow going underneath. We could have done it in purple. Yeah, it would need to be a deep purple. The reason I didn't, okay, yeah, because I usually do my shadows in purple, is because her dress is yellow, and I think it would just be all the wrong coloring. I just don't think it would lend to that pop that we need. Now I am going to go into my grays, and I am going to grab a lighter one. Let's see. I am going to go into, what would this one do? Number 78. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's all right. I want just some worn areas, and where they've really got it, Ruth's got it really lighter in here because that light is shining down some. So I want to be sure I get that in, and I'm using it to help blend. Okay. And no, I'm not worried about staying in the lines. If I decided I wanted to take this out and frame it, that line would all be out of the way anyway. So not to worry. Okay, so there's our step. Really easy, huh? So not bad at all. All right, so now let's see. I'm thinking that building, I know she's got it in blue because it's that blue evening light and it just adds that pale softness to it. And do yours in blue if you want. I'm not. No, I'm not going to. It's just me, I'm sure, but I just don't want to do that. And this part here almost looks like wood railing to me, which would be kind of weird, but that's how the plant's be able to grab onto it too. So I am going to use the two browns that we used earlier in the hair, numbers 27 and 48. And I'm going to come in with this first one and just color all this. Go around that plant. You can barely see the ivy that's on here, but there is some ivy going up this handrail area. And what I'll probably do is put this in like wood and then do the top and bottom pieces in the concrete again. Yeah, just because I'm different that way. I don't know. Do it all concrete if you want. I just like the idea of the brown being here, and it'll help pull from the brown in the dress. And to me, it will help make nature pulled into the picture more. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, and then there's a part there and one here. I'm going to add one over here just so that it kind of balances out. Then I'm going to come in with, wonder how this would work, 47. Let's try it and see. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use that just as a blender to blend some of this together. And I'll put that ivy back in. And if you decide to do this as all concrete, nothing says you have to put that ivy back in at all if you don't want to. I'll just draw it in over the top. I'll be fine. But yeah, I just wanted a little more of the earthy look. In fact, I think I'm going to use these on the building. Now I'm really toying with it. Would all the bricks be in these colors? Ponder, ponder, think, think, think. I think I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit darker coming in, down in here in the shadows. That was the darkest. Now my medium brown. Put that in. Okay. Have a little gnat running around. Yes, it was distracting me. And then to my dark again, because I want to go ahead and make this look more like wood, I'm going to add in just some wood grain. So see, anytime you want to make something wood, just add in the wood grain. I don't know, just me being different. Nothing says you have to do yours that way. In fact, I encourage you to do it your own way. Have it your way. Okay, I did get into the bushes a little bit in my zeal to get it colored. See, I just like the look of that with her outfit. Okay, doesn't matter. Take your choice. Still say that looks like wood grain. It's also a lot longer here and a lot shorter here. Okay, this picture is shrunk down so it shows more than it does here. Okay, see how this has got 1, 2, 3 pots? Here we have 1, 2, the third one's cut off. So that sometimes happens when they're doing pages that end up being a different size than what the original pages were. So that's all right. I'm gonna make it work. There. I'm really anxious to get started on all this. Can y'all do the rest of that on your own? You want another video? Okay. We will keep working on this. If you're going to be doing this on your own, then you can skip all this part and just do it on your own. I'm going to put the darker colors in here. I'm just going to have a darker castle instead of a lighter castle. And there's nothing right or wrong about that. It's just the choice that I am making. All right. So I am tracing around all these little bits because that's where it's darker. Yep, just get it traced in there. If you can't tell what it is, just add some little shapes, some little dilly-dally things, and make it like it's some sort of scroll work. It'll be fine by the time you get the whole thing done. Okay? Don't stress over it. If you're stressing, not good. Okay, we're not here to stress. We're here to do some relaxing coloring. And I'm sure Ruth would probably be the first one to say, hey, you color that however you want. So she's a sweet lady. She's a hard-working lady. Okay, so just get those bricks and stuff put in. Looking at that, and it almost looks like hair coming down, but oh, it is. It's like it kind of didn't make sense. Okay. So we're going to go back and pick up, oh, we've got our browns on our hand already. Let's just make some of that hair that's come down and pick up the yellow. Add some yellow in there. Her hair's just come loose as she took off running. Okay. Use some of this to connect. That way it looks like it's actually connected into her head. And this line right here was the part of the brick, so don't let that suddenly mess you up on what you're doing. Okay. All right, it's going to be a little darker in here from that brick color, but yet we're going to put the little dots in, so it's not going to matter just a whole lot. Now I'm going to make this the medium. That little area right there was the dark, that I'm coming in with the medium. And in fact, you don't want to do too much here, it's going to look like her dress. All right, so in that aspect, you may want to do your walls a different color. Again, it's totally up to you. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my lighter of the two colors, which is my 27, and I am just going to dirty these walls up. Lay it on its sides, what I'm doing. I just think it's going to be easier. It's going to be a little bit quicker. And I can still get all this plant in there in a little bit, so I'm not worried too much about that. Let's get around this pot. Let's get all this in. And if it doesn't look right, we can always add more color on top. Okay? Just trying to go ahead and dirty this up. I want that to all kind of be in the background. I don't want it to seem like it's what's so important, because it's not. She is. Okay? So if I wanted to blur the whole background, I could even do that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just go over this lightly, just to make it part of that. And then those windows, I am going to take this number 19 and go over those windows, because there's light shining because it is the evening, but I don't want it my brightest yellow, because it's not like a sunshine. You know what I'm saying? So get that in there. And then I'm going to come in and work on this just a little bit. Deepen up those little cross areas at the window. Come in with the medium. Again, this is not the most important part of the picture, so you still want it to look pretty nice, but it's not it's not our focal point. Okay, so there's that. What is our time? 32 minutes. We need to stop. All right, we're going to stop and we'll be back in a minute.